and welcome to the Fantasy Republic Fantasy Report. This is Dick Thunderlips, here to bring you all the action for Week 7. Now we have passed the midpoint of our fantasy season, and now is the time to make that stretch run and make your team as good as possible before the bowl battles begin. Remember that in this league, every team plays for a bowl championship after the season is done. Some are just more dignified than others. Meanwhile, us Fantasy Republic hosts will be starting our competition fresh starting from this week. So let's crown the first half Pick'em champion. With 22 right, Big Easy D. Yo, Big Easy D here to accept that first half award on behalf of the D Nation. Now, I'd like to thank God and the little people out there that helped me make my picks so randomly from my gut that they allowed this moment to be possible, son. Now, without further ado, let's kick things off with those Week 7 matchups. First off, it's that trusty Alfred Master Wayne versus Da Brute Squad. Now, Lynn is the only 6-0 team, queen of the castle, but Breeze is on the bye, while Justin's Brutes have lost 2 in a row, but they hope that Big Cheese Aaron Rodgers can pick up the pace and lead them to a win. Unfortunately for Justin, Lynn just so happens to have a backup quarterback named Phillip Rivers. Why not back up the number 2 quarterback with the number 3 quarterback in all the fantasy land? Now, Phillip Rivers puts down that clipboard. It seems like a good strategy that's going to lead those Waynes and those Alfreds to a 7-0 start. Yo, here we are. It's Always Sunny in Philly versus Albany Parkinsons. Now, this is Lone Dan Silver. Let me tell you, I was only one away from winning that fantasy halfway point champion illusionary title that Big Easy D just won. So I vow on my heart as a pirate that I will win it for the second half. Now, with that in mind, I will start here. With the brothers as they do battle, Matt and Zach Dawson, they face off in an epic clash. Dez Bryant and Victor Cruz collide with Brandon Marshall and Deshaun Jackson to produce some high-scoring fireworks. But the real difference in these two teams is that Shady McCoy is riding high, and Matt will be without his first mate, Darren Sproles, proving to be the hole that sinks the Albany Parkinson ship. Yo, Sunny Boys with the win. Next is Beans Deep versus Jermichael Benjarvis Fitzt. Both teams faced tough losses last week, but look to their star running backs for help turning things around this week. Ray Rice will lead the way for the Beans Deepers as Matt Segovia hopes the Ravens will remember how good Ray Rice is at catching passes, while on the other side, Beth is hoping that Arian Foster can run right past the Chiefs and ball for a few touchdowns. Now, unfortunately for Beth, I think her three-headed namesake will struggle this week, and Matt will be deep into a win with an Eli Manning resurgence. Yes, that other Manning. Next up is Charles No against those Elmwood Park Steelers. Now, Charles No had another explosive week, but can they keep that scoring momentum going against the streaking Bob Land Steelers? My prediction is that Mr. Charles is going to get way too overconfident, and after another great week, he's going to fall victim to the rolling, surging Bob Squad.
I'm bad. I'm the baddest motherfucker in the world. Have you ever seen a costume like mine?
Finish him off already. Stop talking.
Comb your beard. I don't want to hear that shit.
It's those Elmwood Park Steelers with their third win in a row. The bench warmers against bromies before homies. Yo, that scurvy wench, Adrian, is still winless, but hopes he can plunder a win from the scurvy bromy team of the Chief. Now, the Chief's main Baromo dropped an 8.8 point turd. That's confusing. 8.8 fantasy point turd. It's large. It's a small turd, but it's a large implication. Last week, reminding us that he is still, in fact, Tony Romo. Now, as much as I love the underdog story, and I think Adrian could have the firepower to finally pull off a win, the man still has no team logo. You can't set sail in a ship if you don't put the skull and the crossbones on the sail, me matey. I just can't get behind that, and thus he walks the plank, and I put the Baromo in front of the Homeo as the Chief goes on to win. Haha. Next is APB on MVP ADAP against Bloodspillers Gore Makers. Now the professor has scraped together a respectable record and his share of first place despite his struggles, but CJ has his own problems at running back as they just keep getting hurt or don't do anything. Anyway, the matchup, it looks like alphabet soup with 6 Qs, 3 Ps, 2 Os, an IR, and 4 buys. Oh my! Now, if all the professors questionable, if all of the professors, I can't talk with my mustache off, if all of the professor's questionable players play, I think he's got the edge. But, for now, I'm gonna pick CJ to win, because I have more confidence in him fielding a roster full of uninjured players. It's truly a injury bowl, folks. Next up, it's Belichick yourself against Gomez Homies. Now, Mr. Jesus finally broke that Tebow curse, and the Belichicks picked up a win last week, while Freddy's Homies of Gomez team picked up a big win of their own. Now, Mr. Jesus will look for a little bit of luck from that young Colt QB when hopefully Reggie Bush will continue to shake his 20-plus fantasy point magic stick. But you know, Freddy's main trick, Matt Forte, is looking as sexy as ever. And as long as Green and Bo go, I think Freddy was locked in for another win. Straight cash, D-Nation. Yo, it's the matchup of the week. The bad guys will face the Bridgeport Bruisers. All known as bad guys are ready to continue their winning ways this week as Justin Blackman continues to settle into the Aldo offense, while J-Sex continues to do nothing except watch his bruisers work, if he's even doing that much. Old Johnny Boy finally lost one last week and won't be the divisional leader for long if he doesn't make some moves. Now, I do have faith that those bad guys are actually kinda good, and Peyton Manning is still scary, but with a strong game from the muscle hamster, Doug Martin, I'm trying to make muscles. I expect Aldo to sink the Bridgeport battleship and send old J-Sex off to fantasy oblivion. Now, this is another warning before we really make you walk the plank, Johnny boy. Make some moves, or you'll be sleeping with the fishes. Yo-ho! Then that does it for this week. Good luck in week 7. Get your picks and your quiz answers to the professor. And may all your fantasy be gold, me kiddies. Yo-ho!